I got a phone call like last week, I believe it was. My homeboy up in Baltimore and shit. Shout out my man CL. Hadn't talked to him for real like some years outside of, just commenting on Instagram here and there. But good dude, man. We met down the block some years back. Um, just, found out we both do music and he cut hair, so he came through, cut my hair, shit like that. And anyway, we was just catching up, chopping it up. He a content creator and a good one. He do reaction videos and skits and shit like that. Um, and he kind of, just figured it out, yo. But we was, chopping it up and catching up. And he was just telling me, I see what you're doing, man. Keep doing your thing, with the freestyle videos and shit like that. And, I told him, you keep doing your thing with the content too, yo. You know what I mean? Shit dope for real. And, we just kind of talking about how, um, sometimes life be lifing and, you know what I mean? You can kind of like, get behind on shit. And he was like, you know how it is. You're a content creator. And when he said that, you know what I mean? It kind of took me back a little bit because I'm like, damn, I guess I am a content creator now. I be posting these videos and shit. And I guess, the reason it took me back is because, like, this wasn't really my intention, man. Like I said in videos pretty often, man, all I ever really wanted to do was rap, yo. Like, I, um, I used to not even like being on video and, you know what I mean, pictures and shit like that. It was more like, let me just get on this microphone and, you know, spit what I gotta spit and people can hear it, like on CDs back, in the day and shit like that. But now, everything visual and it has been for some years now. So I think if you want to advance, you just got to get acclimated to this shit and kind of learn how it works and, do the best you can to like, create your lane and build a community and shit like that, which, I mean, I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of it for somebody who ain't really have like no type of I mean, I ain't gonna say, guidance is really required. It's more like, you just kind of gotta pay attention to what's going on and you know, it's a combination of like what other people doing and like, how you can create your own way, what I mean, taking pages out of other people's book and shit. Cause I mean, the shit don't really come with a handbook. I mean, it might, but cause a lot of people out here, selling shit on, how to build your your online presence and shit. But I think, even though people might have, useful tips and methods of doing shit, like I don't think everything will work for everybody. Um, because I think the one thing is you just gotta be genuine, you gotta be true to yourself, yo. I mean at least, that's how I feel from my moral standpoint. But a lot of people online don't choose morality, what I mean? They choose clout and popularity and some other shit for real. But it's a wild transition to make, yo. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people that know my music nowadays, they know my song "Introvert," yo, and like that's not a song I made up to make a good song or a hit song. Like that's how I really feel, yo. And I'm like starting to, be a little bit more like I don't even want to say outgoing. I'm starting to be a little less introverted though, you know what I mean? I'm starting to interact with people more than I was, a few years ago. Because it's like, from a young age, I grew up being real shy, introverted, and then, as I got to like, late teens, early 20s, I started being a little more outgoing and shit, because, just the way I was living life and shit like that, it required me to deal with people more. So, I kind of like came out my shell a little bit. And then once I got older, it's like, man, I'm ready to go right back in that motherfucker, man. I did what I had to do for real. But now it's like, I kind of got to come back out of it again. But like online, though, it's like you don't necessarily really got to be outside to make an impact no more. Like, you could do it, what I mean, from wherever you at with your phone and shit. So, um, But like I said, with me, it's not really about popularity or clout. It's more just about, finding my people and my people finding me, better yet. And, building something solid and strong and consistent. And, you know, um, I'm always, hold up the consistency on my end, man. I'm always, release music on a regular. It's super regular for real, like more often than, a lot of artists or shit. I try to, stay up on the content as far as like, just giving out whatever game I can or, what I mean, provide a little bit of entertainment from time to time. I'll be busting the funnies and shit like that. But um, other than that, though, man, it's just I'm still trying to get used to this shit, man. Like, I mean, I can carry a conversation, like, when somebody talking to me, or I could possibly even start a conversation a lot of times. But for me to just cut the camera on and start talking to that motherfucker like I'm talking to somebody. I mean, I am talking to somebody when somebody watch it, but until then, it's like I'm just kind of rambling on with no response. And I'm learning that, like, on YouTube, it's beneficial to, like, make videos of 10 minutes or more. So it's like a lot of these videos I've been posting, they've been 2 minutes, a minute, 45 seconds, shit like that. You know what I mean? Because I noticed that, like, the shorts be getting more views and shit, but I think the longer videos probably put you in the algorithm a little bit more. And I think when I came into YouTube, it was like, as an artist, like, when I really started taking it serious, was when I started putting music on DistroKid, and I eventually started checking the numbers, and I'm like, hold up, like, my YouTube jamming a little bit, like, where all these subscribers come from, and what I mean, all these views on this song and shit. So I'm like, damn, I gotta jump up on here, yo. But now that I'm doing that, I'm like, oh shit, this is more than music, yo. Like, music is a small part of YouTube world, man. So, and it's like, even now, yo, like, I'm kind of like, just like winging it as far as, like, what I'm talking about. It's all relevant to, like, the general concept, I had, prior to hitting the record button, like, just speaking on, like, the transition into being a content creator, because I know I'm not the only one going through this shit, yo. I know it's a dude out there in their late 30s, early 40s that's like, damn, yo, like, I just wanted to rap. Why I gotta do all this shit now? Like, what I mean? I got homeboys and shit that's like that. You know what I mean? It's a little older than me, and they just like, damn, yo, this shit changed. And it's like, motherfuckers is getting used to it and been getting used to it, because it ain't like this shit just happened yesterday. But it's just when you spent a better part of your time doing music at a time when it was a lot different. You know what I'm saying? It's like all this new shit is like all this AI, and you know what I mean? The fact that everything is at everybody's fingertips now. Like, it was a time when doing music was like real exclusive, yo. Like, not real exclusive, but it was like, shit, you're gonna have to know your shit a little bit. You're gonna have to put some bread behind it. Now it's like, shit, you can get apps, you know what I mean, and record music on your phone and all type of shit for real. But you know what I mean? As far as the content creating, though, man, like I said, yo, my man CL, yo, he hit me with the, you know what I mean? You know how it is. You're a content creator. I'm like, oh shit, like, dang, I guess so, yo. So, you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep learning, keep growing, and, I appreciate the people that watch this shit. Try to make, some longer videos talking about something for real. That's why I try, tell a story here and there, and maybe I would like to do some type of documentary at some point, maybe an audio book or something. But my main focus is being an artist, show. So anything else outside of that, I know is just beneficial. You know what I mean, to the main, you know, uh, my main shit, being an artist. So building that up, requires, creating content and shit like that. Then that's what it's gonna take. Um, and that's what I'm gonna do for real. But if you watching this, you know what I mean. I appreciate it. I ain't gonna be one to do all that like, comment, and subscribe shit. But I mean, hey, if you like it, you know what I mean. Shit, you like it, yo, and I love it, yo. I appreciate it, man. Rich.